did. Sorry, I did say sorry.
Could you be quiet, please? This is not a public meeting. This is a meeting of council.
But it's a good point. I do apologise. I missed my train. Yeah, it's all right.
It's still flashing, though.
Oh, yeah.
Bag. Right. 2463. Declarations of interest. Members declare their interest on items on the agenda. Reminder, this includes the registrable interest of anybody exercise, the body group, exercising functions of a public nature directed towards charitable purposes, or ones whose principal purpose is to influence the public opinion or policy. And to that end, I need to mention, regarding the group working against the villagers, against the council, and in particular the group known most recently as the Crisis Against the Village Group in general, and in any other groups, so they've been working against the sublease or whatever. If any councillors or their partners are members of the group, that's absolutely fine. They will, though, need to consider whether and what type of interest they should declare and its impact. We have for far too long had a group that has not bothered to name itself, so councillors that are members avoid openly and honestly declaring themselves. And this has gone on for many years. Non-participation in case of a disclosure of pecuniary interest is where a matter arising at the meeting which directly relates to one of your disclosable pecuniary interests. You must disclose that interest, not participate in any discussion or vote on the matter, must not remain in the room unless you have been granted dispensation. If it is a sensitive interest, you do not have to disclose the nature of interest, just that you have an interest. Dispensation may be granted in limited circumstances to enable you to participate in a vote and vote on a matter in which you have exposed or pecuniary interest. Disclosable of non-registrable interest, disclosure of non-registrable interest, where a matter arises at a meeting which directly relates to your financial interest or well-being and is not a disclosable pecuniary interest or financial interest or well-being of a relative or close associate, you must disclose the interest. You may speak on the matter only if the members of the public are also allowed to speak at the meeting, i.e. speak in public session. Otherwise, you must not take part in any discussion or vote on the matter and must not remain in the room unless you have been granted dispensation. If it is a sensitive interest, you do not have to disclose the nature of the interest. Where a matter arises at a meeting which affects A, your own financial interest or well-being, financial interest or well-being of a relative or close association, that's what it must be. C, a financial interest or well-being of a body included under the registrable interest set out in Table 2, you must disclose the interest. In order to determine whether you can remain in the meeting after disclosing the interest, you follow the test. The following test should be applied. Where a matter to referred above affects financial interest or well-being to a greater extent than the financial interest of the majority of inhabitants in the room affected by this issue. Or B, a reasonable member of the public knowing all the facts will believe that it will affect your view of the wider public interest. You may speak on the matter only if the public are allowed to speak at the meeting. Otherwise, you must not take part in discussion or vote on the matter. And must not remain in the room unless you have been granted a dispensation. If a sensitive interest, you do not have to disclose the nature of the interest. A sensitive interest is an interest which is, if disclosed, could lead to the council or a person connected to the council being subject to violence or intimidation. Okay. Does anyone have any interest they wish to declare? Chris, and staff,
No.
You?
No.
No.
Ben?
Yeah, I've personal interest being an active member of the football and the cricket
interests as members, as trustee of the HBO Sports and Community Club, chair of the Hatfield Bordeaux Youth Football Club, member of the committee of the Hatfield Bordeaux Cricket Club, secretary of the Hatfield Bordeaux Change and Comfort Club instructor.
Mark, I'm really sorry, I forgot to put in about being church treasurer.
Something that's going to come up.
No, there was reference to the church in the paperwork.
I think that, yeah, everything's mentioned or something like that. That's in the business case. Is that what you're talking about?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for first two items of the meeting, I'm going to recuse myself and leave the room. And hand over to our vice chair.
Thank you, Councillor Strath. I would just like to ask again if anyone has any interests in addition to those already declared they would like to register for this section of the meeting. The first item is asking for members to agree the draft heads of terms. I would ask Councillor Artis to give us a resume and to propose the motion.
Thank you. These heads of terms have been produced to form the backbone of the proposed sublease to the HBO Sports and Community Club for the Village Green. They've been negotiated by the council's representatives, Councillor Bede, Hunt and myself, with two representatives from the charity. The document you have before you is the product of those discussions. It should be stressed, as indeed all heads of terms are, it's subject to contract, i.e. they're non-binding until any lease is prepared and agreed between solicitors and signed by both parties. So therefore, by definition, they're draft. The terms do include certain reduced works that are needed to be carried out by the parish council prior to occupation by the charity. These are works that the parish council should have done previously and would have to do even if it were to retain the management of the green itself. The charity will seek grants to support these works, as they did, providing 3/4 of the cost of the tractor grass cutting equipment previously. The sublease, if eventually agreed, is the route by which the village green was originally established and would be the fulfilling of that objective. I would like to propose the motion with these clarifications, and you have a copy of it in front of you, but I'll read it out for the audience. This council agrees the contents of the draft heads of terms for granting a sublease by HBO Parish Council to HBO Sports and Community Club Limited dated 20th of May as amended up until the 27th of August 24 and appended. The council is to seek legal opinion on this document. It is, of course, subject to contract and is currently non-binding. I'd like to propose that motion.
Could I speak?
Yeah, but we'll take a second first. Anyone ask questions?
I'd like to speak, please. Am I not allowed to speak?
Well, there's,
Not yet. There will be a chance to speak in a minute.
so I'd like to propose the motion and then take questions, but we need a second.
So this council agrees the contents of the draft heads of terms for granting of the sublease by HBO Parish Council to HBO Sports and Community Club Limited dated 20th of May as amended to 27th of August 2024 and appended. The council is to seek legal opinion on this document. It is, of course, subject to contract and is currently non-binding. Can I please have a proposer and a seconder? Councillor Artis. Councillor Moon.
I would like to raise a motion, please.
Does anyone have any comments or points?
Okay, all right, well, I think it would be better before this is over.
Okay. Yeah?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm that I have raised issues with Keith and you have discussed them with them and come back with some variation. But I only had the business plan a few days ago, and on reading the business, or some of the business plan, I haven't got to the end of it yet, and the heads of terms. I feel that they go together, and I really feel that I need more time to look through them and to ask more questions and to gather more information to be able to make an informed decision on this vote. So I would like to propose a motion to defer this vote, and I'm sorry because I know that will upset some of you, but it is really because I want to make sure that what we are doing is correct in my own head. And if possible, I would like to have the public meeting that Councillor Webb proposed in July, because the wording of that said that it would be before we had the vote on any decision in being made. So I would like to put that forward, please.
Do you have a seconder for that?
It's a deferment. That's what it was.
I'm asking for deferment to the October meeting purely so that we can just thrash out some information that I don't feel I have enough details.
I mean, the only thing I would say, I appreciate, I'm just speaking to your amendment, but the only thing I would say is that we need to get legal advice. We need to move forward with legal advice. And we can quite easily do that in parallel. But if that's what you want to propose.
I would prefer that we thrashed out the details and then got legal advice, because if we do need to change anything, we may well have to do the legal advice twice.
No, we won't have to do that, but anyway.
That would be my preferred option.
Okay, there's a proposal and a second.
Okay, we've got a proposal and a second for that. All those in favour?
Of your vote, I'll say yes, but not the first one, sorry.
Okay,
So I'll go with you.
We voted on my proposition.
Yes, I'm with you. Sorry, I missed that bit.
Okay.
Yes. I'm with Garrett's full.
Okay. Anyone against?
Councillor, Clark, can you note what we've done?
Yeah.
Can it be recorded, please?
Thank you.
Because this is going to be very...
okay, well, there is a proposal, there's a second. Can we vote on the heads of terms, please? Draft heads of terms.
So proposal and seconder for the heads of terms.
So,
Draft heads of terms.
yeah, so we need to vote on that now. So,
So there's another proposal and a seconder
you've got
for
a
that.
proposer, a second.
All those in favour?
Yeah.
All those against?
That can be recorded as well. It's going down the road.
I think against it's deferring it, it's not against it per se.
It'll be against, I have got to be against it because
Okay. So the next item is to consider the appointment of a solicitor. The council has already resolved that legal advice is required. This motion is to confirm the appointment of the solicitor it is considered is best suited to the task. I'd ask Councillor Artis to give us a brief summary of this recommendation.
Certainly, yeah. As you would expect, to do things correctly, over the last number of months, we've been discussing with 3 legal firms our objectives for the sublease and the appropriate legal requirements associated with it, such as the 1972 Local Government Act, the Subsidy Control Act, and the powers of general consent, among others, which may be identified. The Council has previously voted to obtain advice. This motion is to confirm who we actually use to give that legal advice and the services that we would be required to procure. Councillors Hunt and Beadle have seen the full report and make this recommendation to the council to so appoint. And the motion is, further to this council, having previously resolved to appoint a solicitor to advise on the heads of terms for the granting of a sublease to the HBO Sports and Community Club, this council now approves the appointment of Company B in the background papers as the council's solicitors for legal advice and services on the proposed heads of terms, draft sublease, and advice on the council's legal obligations regarding the disposal of the land. A budget of £6,000 has been allocated for this purpose.
So can I have a proposer and a seconder, please, to that motion? All those in favour? All those against? So you're against the solicitor?
Against appointing a solicitor.
Against appointing a solicitor?
Sorry, but
Does
I
anyone have any
recommend spending
points?
£6 grand. And there's charity, £6 grand.
They'll appoint their own solicitor.
Have they got 6,000?
I don't know, it's up to them
The
how much
last
they spend.
conversation we had with him was they hadn't got tons. Couldn't afford anything. Has that changed? No, sorry, I'm out of order.
Sorry.
But I'm just saying, I'm not gonna agree with £6 grand. Not now.
Yeah.
Now we know what all the delays were about. Don't think we didn't stop that. Delays and taking giving us not a constitution, giving longer than the future step. Gerrymander is the word that comes to mind. Don't think we don't see it. That's what we did. Sorry, that was bad. We know now what all those delays are. I'm sorry, Mark.
Sorry, can you be quiet?
But don't think we don't see.
Sue.
We see.
Local Government Act obligations.
The next item on the agenda is 2466, the Local Government Act of 1972 obligations. Keith, would you like to?
Yeah, certainly. This motion is self-explanatory. For the council to dispose of any asset meeting the criteria that the Village Green does, it is required to publish its intentions in the local papers. And this motion says once legal advice has been procured, and if a sublease agreed for signing, this council approves to publish the notice of intended disposal of open space land in accordance with the Local Government Act 1972, relevant sub-clauses of section 123 and 127. So I'd like to propose that.
Are there any questions from anyone? Okay, can I ask for a show of hands? Oh, I need a second. Sorry. Can we have a show of hands then if we go to the vote? Get a valuation for the land? Okay, sorry, the legal obligations.
Yeah.
Those against?
Not yet.
And abstaining. Are we doing next on the agenda is 2467, the land valuation. Members, to consider the quotation we've received from Big Loss for the valuation of disposal of the land for the council's files. The totals for the sum of £500 plus VAT. Have we had any other quotes? We had a second quote which was £1,100.
Yeah, under the powers of general consent, councils are allowed to dispose of assets, land, if the undervalue is less than £2 million, i.e. if they're giving it away for less than, for greater than £2 million, they have to get the Secretary of State's consent. This is under 2 million. Clearly with the peppercorn rent for 99 years, this asset has very small value, but this valuation is necessary as part of our due diligence requirements. I'd like to propose the motion, and the motion is to accept the quotation from Bidwell to the value of the disposal of land for the council's files for the sum of £500 plus VAT.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Murphy. Any comments and questions, please?
These councils do not need three quotes.
Not specialist in this.
Just, Mark, can't disagree with Bidwells because they are the land agents, agent. So, but it's more numbers, isn't it? It's more numbers that PC are giving away. You look at it like that, just said that. It's another £500 that the parish council will give away.
Anybody else?
Comment?
Thank you, Chris. So we move to a vote. We'll show of hands, those in favour. Those against? Those abstaining? Right. Motion carried by majority. This is just to note that the Parish Council has received the HBO Sports and Community Club's business plan proposal for the maintenance of the Hatfield at Green Street. The Council is to review the plan and include an analysis in the Council's overall sublease risk assessment. The Council will at a future date. So it's purely to know that. If anyone has anything to say at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, we received the business case, admittedly only recently. I need to have a quick look at it, as I'm sure you do. It does need a thorough review, and indeed I have some comments myself. So this motion is to clearly state that we will review it properly as part of our overall risk assessment.
Good plan if they carry it through.
Thank you, Chris.
Maybe 5 years is a long time.
Okay, the date of the next meeting. The next meeting will be the September full council meeting, which is on Tuesday, the 10th in a week's time, here at 8 p.m. Close this meeting at 21:16.